What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I've been shopping from A to Z. I go shopping because we got the game meal right back here. Boom, 3-foot sub. We're going to do a Greek sub, a Greek grilled chicken sub. Oh my goodness, it's gonna have, you know, some basil feta cheese on there. Ooh-wee. It's gonna have some chopped olives, some Greek peppers on there, lettuce, tomato, Greek dressing on the sub. Yeah, chicken tenders. We're gonna be grilling chicken tenders. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We're gonna have that, and we're actually gonna have spaghetti with chili over it, but it's not gonna be that wimpy Cincinnati chili. We're gonna make some Mark Holmes chili on there, okay? It's gonna be hot and spicy, and it's got meat, chunks of meat in it, okay? It's gonna be a red chili where we make our own chili pepper, chili peppers, you know, seasoning, damn it, seasoning. So by now, you've heard that the Cowboys have cut John Ridgeway in hopes of bringing him back if he clears waivers onto the practice squad. So this is another knock. Let me be clear here. Right now, it's cool to knock the Joneses because the Joneses have literally had the worst offseason, at least at the moment. Things could turn around. Things could really turn around, and we could be like, you know, eating crow, okay, or eating eagle. I don't know. But as it looks right now, the Cowboys look undermanned, underprepared, undercoached, and just bad. And you could point a lot of this to the people who put the people in charge and the people who ended up getting the people to work out on the roster. And so here's where the plan was truly faulty. So the Joneses said, we believe in our own guys. Okay, we believe in our own guys, which I understand that. Okay, I get that. That they've been burned by the Greg Hardys and you know, and stuff in free agency, and they've seen a lot of teams, you know, like the Albert Haynesworth and things. I get that. So they don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on a free agent and look like ass. I get that. Okay, I understand that. May not agree with that. But if you spend the amount of time you do scouting your draft picks as you do with the free agents, maybe you might make better decisions. But here's the fault here, because the Cowboys basically said, you know what, we're going to let go Lyle Collins, we're going to let go Connor Williams because we don't want to pay those guys big money, and we're going to rely from within for our offensive linemen. Okay, so they go through and they say, we're going to use the draft, okay? And they did try to fix the offensive line. They got Tyler Smith, they got Matt Lewinsky and stuff like that. They ended up getting guys like Fournier and things. You know, last year they drafted Josh Ball and so on. I get it. So you're trying to coach them up, and maybe we don't have the best coach to coach them up, as Lyle Collins threw shade on us yesterday. It's kind of amazing how much talking Cincinnati is doing before this game, and they got the same record as us. 0-1. But here's the thing that kind of mystifies me. After John Ridgeway, you know, we looked and we said we need to be a run-stopping team. So you draft a guy like John Ridgeway to be a run-stopper. Okay. Now, granted, Quentin Bohannon's played better. But now you're risking this draft pick that you got in the 5th round. So he's not helping you this year. And your plan was, these young guys, these draft picks are going to be the ones to save this season because we're going to get rid of the veterans. So John Ridgeway is not active and cut, and maybe he'll come back on the practice squad. Okay. Jalen Tolbert, your number 3 wide receiver, your 3rd round draft pick wide receiver, is now going to be inactive 2 games. So a guy that you looked at and said, we need him to help replace Cedric Wilson or Amari Cooper. And he's inactive. Sam Williams will be active this week because Terrell Basham is injured. But if he wasn't injured, he wouldn't be part of the game plan. Tyler Smith, of course, Tyler Smith is actually starting. starting, of course, at left tackle. So here's the problem with the logic of the Cowboys, if we want to call it logic. And we can look at last year and say that last year was actually a good draft as well. We got Micah Parsons in there. We got O.C. and Digazua and Golston. You know, you got maybe a generational player. You got a starter, and you got a role player. That's, you know, you get that much in a draft, you're doing good. But the Cowboys figured, well, we're going to be able to get, you know, a starting offensive lineman or two, you know, credible offensive lineman backup, a starting wide receiver, and a tight end. Thus far, you've hardly used Jake Ferguson, okay, which I thought you would be using him because he's a good pass catcher and blocker, and using 12 personnel. You're not using 12 personnel, which means he's not getting on there. If you're only having one tight end, you're not bringing him on the field with Dalton Schultz on the franchise tag. You're just not. Your second-round pick, Sam Williams, will play maybe some spot duty. Maybe he comes along a little bit and he plays more. Your third-round pick, not even active, and you got a linebacker that you drafted in there who is healing up and probably will not play this year. And you just cut your fifth-round draft pick. Do I have that right? Now, I may have those numbers. I mean, I may have that out of order. But basically, the plan was this draft class to take over for the veterans that we got rid of that were overpriced and deemed not good enough. And thus far, you ain't got that push from those guys. So what does that say about your philosophy of we believe in our guys? Now, maybe down the road, these guys that are getting, you know, that are young, that are getting valuable time, and maybe this plan wasn't about this year. Maybe this plan was about clearing out salaries, dumping salaries, and starting the process of rebuilding and planning on having new offensive coaches. I mean, that could be, it honestly, when you look at it from the outside, you look at that because now you've got, you know, Tyler Smith starting, you know, you got Matt Fornick, you know, playing out there and starting now. You've got these young guys now that are getting experience. You got rid of the high-priced guys, with the exception of Tyron Smith and Zach Martin, but you can walk away from Tyron Smith's contract next year. You can walk away from Zeke Elliott's contract next year. You can walk away from Dalton Schultz's contract. So you could basically say, yeah, we got a quarterback and we got a great guard that are only two guys that are getting paid. And then the next guy comes in, he can go ahead and do it however he wants to and bring in the coaching staff that he deems necessary. That's the only thing I can see right here that actually makes sense. Otherwise, the plan that they had, that they figured that we're just going to draft so well that we're going to bring in all these guys that are going to be ready to start, but they're not ready to play. Hell, some of them aren't even ready to be on the active roster. Oh, boy. But you know what? I'll be watching all 17 of the Cowboy games, and I'll be streaming it. And I bet you'll be watching too. And I got an hour and 45 minutes to get this stuff back home and get the studio set up outside for our 5 o'clock live stream. And I'll see you guys there. Peace.